we're chasing subjective outcomes. And as coaches, we're trying not to be subjective. And so the average person's going to come to you and what are they going to say? Well, I want to lose weight.
Yeah, tell me what to do.
Right? I want to lose weight. That's pretty standard. Okay, well, do you want to lose a pound or lose 100 pounds? Well, I want to lose 15 pounds. The coach is like, what the fuck? Like, why do you want to lose 15 pounds? We all know 15 pounds was never the end game. You want to, quote unquote, look better, subjective. You want to, quote unquote, feel better, subjective. You want to, quote unquote, have a better life, subjective. Very few people can objectify those things, like if forced to do so right away. So you're chasing these monstrously subjective outcomes, and we're trying to give you very objective inputs to get you there. Well, if you wake up in a good mood, all of a sudden you like the way you look, you like the way you feel, and life is in a good spot. But if you wake up in a fucking bad mood, you hate the way you look, you hate the way you feel, and life's in a bad spot. When in reality, nothing objectively actually fucking changed. And so everything we're doing is this pursuit of something that kind of doesn't exist. Mm-hmm. And so we're inputting all of these variables to hope that we land in a place that everybody is in agreement that is quote unquote good. And that's what makes our whole industry difficult. Even the objective points like bodybuilding, which are supposed to be very finite and objective, are subjective. We're putting you on stage in front of a bunch of dudes and women and we're like, hey, you got no clothes on, and we're subjectively saying you look good and you look bad.
Yeah, and not to mention the subjective feeling that the bodybuilder's chasing. Well, if I win, then I'll feel this way.
Right.
Yeah, it's this is why the guidance and coaching. I used to tell clients who would say to me, I want to lose weight, and then we go down the why train, and eventually it's like, well, so I'll be happy, and I'd say, well, you have to be happy in order to lose weight. So it's actually the reverse. It's not the objective creates a subjective. The subjective, the state of mind, is what creates the objective goal, and that's a real hard concept for people to understand, especially because they imagine what life will be like. This is what people do, right? They think that life is going to be this particular way if they can accomplish this goal. There's a psychological phenomenon. There's actually a term for it. I don't remember what it was, but where like an athlete will train forever, their whole life, and then the Olympics come up and they qualify, and it's like their dream to win a gold medal, and they win, and then they're extremely depressed shortly afterwards because what they created in their head for what this would be like really didn't pan out. It actually never does.
Well, it's like the client, male or female, and it's like, if I look a certain way, XYZ things will happen. The opposite sex will like me more. I'll feel more confident. Yeah. I'll like myself more, whatever. And all of a sudden, you look a certain way, you hit a certain number on the scale, you go out on a date, you get rejected. And all of a sudden, the whole journey was for nothing.
Yeah.
But it's because that was the outcome that you artificially placed on the whole journey. When in reality, you got healthier, you lost weight, you do in fact probably look a little better, you probably feel better, your physiology is in a better place. Yet, because that wasn't the solution that you were looking for, the whole journey was for naught. And so it becomes extremely difficult as a coach. And this is why I believe coaches will always have utility, because I think that the whole journey is far less about the outcome. It is far more about the journey. It is getting people connected inside of the journey and helping them understand the journey is what they were always after in the first place. I mean,
just didn't know it.
We're all entrepreneurs in here, right? At the end of the day, when we first set out, we're like, I want to make $1 million. And I don't know if you remember the first time you looked at your bank account and you saw $1 million. For me, it was a big letdown. Like the very first day I had $1 million in my bank account, I had transferred money from business account to personal account. I'm like, cool, I'm a millionaire. Like nothing at all fucking changed.
Yeah, well, I talk about that on the show all the time, that the most depressing time in my life was when I reached the dollar amount that I thought I needed or I wanted my whole life.
Because then it was like, you have this whole life ahead of you for what?
Yeah.
Because that didn't do shit for you.
Yeah.
And most people are like that in their dietary journey. They set these very artificial outcomes and they're like, oh, that will be the best. And it's like,
what people imagine is a snapshot. So really this is how it works, right? They think of a frozen moment in time, 30 pounds lighter, feeling good, everything looks great or whatever. It's always moving. Life is always going on. And so it's always going to be about the journey, whether you like it or not. What percentage would you say of someone's satisfaction or happiness or joy comes from the actual journey itself, which includes struggle, challenge, failure, growth, learning, acceptance, versus the goal? What percentage goes to the journey? What percentage goes to the accomplishing the goal that you set out to accomplish?
I don't think that you ever really accomplish your goals, because the minute you get to a goal, you you realize there's another one ahead of you.
I agree.
So I think it's 100% journey.
Agreed.
If we're looking at it that way, I think that the people I admire most, last time we were here, I talked about like my whole, like I still have body issues at 38 years old. I admire the people most that can put on body fat and be like, it's part of the journey and not give a fuck. Like I struggle with that so hard. And it's like, they're just doing it because it's part of the journey. They're not so tied to the immediate outcome. And I think regardless, people that can truly live and not be tied to immediate outcomes. And by the way, the greatest predictor of success is the ability to delay gratification. And I think that people that ultimately become successful long-term, I don't think Bezos thinks he's made it yet. I don't think Zucks thinks he's made it yet. The person that won Mr. Olympia this year, Hadi, right?
Yeah.
I don't think he thinks he made it yet. He probably got off stage and was starting to think about working for next year. It was just a check mark in the journey. And he's delaying the gratification. The gratification comes like when life is over. When like all of the things that I did, the sum of the whole was what I was really after.